Great to be here, and thank you for coming. This is ETH, so I knew I need to talk about Ethereum, but I also want to speak about other chain. So we'll wait for Justin to move the slides for us. So we'll do a short session, a short discussion, and then we can go back to beer and drink. So Justin, whenever you're ready. Okay, so those are the top active chain with MEV. If you cannot see, we have seats here. Please come forward. So can go to the next one. As I said, I wanted to talk about a topic that will be relevant to all the chain and not just to Ethereum. So I ended up with two topics, completely separate. The first one will be relevant to the tree chain. We'll talk about sandwiches, kind of like the current state of sandwiches in each chain. And then we'll talk about some ETH-specific topics. Cool, so Ethereum is actually the easiest. You can see here there are a lot of sandwiches on Ethereum, and it's easiest because really in Ethereum, nothing is being done. The concept is, if a user is being sandwiched, do we have any searcher here that are doing sandwiches? No. So, I know, so we can agree that sandwiches are bad, okay? So, the concept in Ethereum, if a user is being racked because of a sandwich, it's because the user is stupid, the user made a mistake. We're expecting in Ethereum that the apps will fix sandwiches. Okay, and the user made a mistake that is not using the right app. And because of that, what happened is Ethereum that all the order flow are being sent directly to Builder to bypass the mempool, so there will be less sandwiches. And every time that you're talking about Ethereum, the topic is, where are all the retail users? Why did they move out of Ethereum? That's one of the reasons. So let's talk a little bit about BNB Chain. The point that I want you to take from this is not so much about the technical difference between the chain and how sandwiches work, but more about how each chain and how each community react to the problem. Okay, so Ethereum we covered. BNB Chain. BNB Chain spent a lot of effort on bringing retail users to BNB. They are actually quite successful. And sandwiches was and still a big problem on BNB, okay? So one day I wake up, I open my Telegram, and I see a message from the foundation. Be prepared, your builder will be disconnected from all the validator until you stop sandwiching within the builder. That's the message that I got from the foundation. In my mind, okay, I have 2 weeks to prepare. An hour later, our builder was disconnected from all the validator. This is how BNB Chain work, okay? So we needed to rush. We needed in a few hours to stop sandwiching. And sandwiching within bundles completely stopped. And the searcher, of course, they are very smart. So they start doing sandwiching outside of a bundle. And then the BNB Foundation sent a message, stop sandwiching in the block, not within a bundle. So 2 or 3 days later, all the builders on BNB stopped sandwiching within the bundle. And the current state is that there are a lot of sandwiching right now, but there are cross blocks, okay? And if I have to put my money, within a month, this problem will be resolved. The BNB Foundation will find a solution. Maybe they're going to give a validator 8 blocks to be one after the other, but they'll find a solution. But the concept is completely different. We are fighting, and basically everyone needs to do what we are doing. So it's the completely opposite from Ethereum. So the BNB Foundation created something called the Goodwill Alliance. All the builders that wants to participate are part of the Goodwill Alliance. Validators are not allowed to connect to builders that are not part of the Goodwill Alliance. And this is the result of the Goodwill Alliance. Okay, this is before the change. You can see type 1 is sandwiches within a bundle. And you can see the change right after. Basically, it's almost gone. Okay, and go to the next one. This is the current state, but this is type 3. So this is sandwiches on different block, and as I said, it's going to go away. Okay, so let's talk about Solana. Solana, sandwiches on Solana, one of the biggest problems that users are facing right now, okay? And it's funny because 2 years ago when I started on Solana, the concept was there will be no sandwiches on Solana. It's a proof of history. Only the validator, the leader, is getting the transaction. There simply cannot be sandwiches on Solana. It's one of the biggest problems right now on Solana. So this is how bad it is. Okay, on some days it's skyrocket. This is from 2 weeks ago. Justin? Okay, so to understand the Solana problem, you have to really understand how transaction flow within the Solana ecosystem. So a validator receives transaction in 2 different ways. The first one from an RPC. So an RPC sends a transaction to the current leader. A validator is called the leader in Solana. The leader and the next 1 or 2 leaders. Okay, it's called the fan out. How many validators are getting the transaction? And a validator can get a transaction also from Jito. Anyone here is not aware of Jito? Thank you. Anyone here is not aware of Jito? Great. So validator can get bundle from Jito. And we are seeing a lot of MEV attacks, sandwiches on Solana. Those are basically the 3 most popular attacks. The first one is you basically sandwich Jito bundle. The second one is you are doing some kind of a private mempool service. And the third one is what I call the malicious validator, where you are actively sandwiching within the block that you are. Can you go back? So let's look on each one of them. So the first one is using Jito. So for example, let's assume that you are a bad validator. Okay, you're not the current leader, but you are the next leader, and you're receiving an order flow from Jito. You are getting a bundle from Jito because Jito is preparing for the next slot. You can examine the bundle, you can check the transaction, you can bundle it, you can sandwich it, you can create a bundle that is paying more than the bundle that you got from Jito, and you can send it to Jito. And if it's paying a lot and if you do it fast enough, Jito is going to send it to the current leader, and you're still going to land it in the block. So this is the first one, which is you unbundle Jito and you use Jito to bundle to attack the original transaction. This means that users that are just using Jito and believe that they are protected are being attacked. Okay. The second is private mempool. So with private mempool, it usually means that you are running a relay, a Jito relay, and you're getting some transaction from, let's say, from a public RPC. You forward within your relay, you forward it to some service. That service create a bundle, a Jito bundle, and send it to Jito, paying a lot, and the user is being attacked. And the third one, which is currently the biggest issue, because I will talk in a second about solution for the first and the second, but the third one currently don't have good solution, is that you are a bad validator. Okay, you are a malicious validator, so you're getting a transaction from Jito when you are the current leader, and you basically ignore the bundle and you are attacking the transaction and you make a lot of money. So go to the next one and one more. Okay, so what the community is doing. So the first one is the Solana Foundation. They basically identify a list of malicious validator, and the foundation have a program where they help you stake, so they remove the stake from the validator. That was very helpful for validators that were debating whether they should be malicious or not, and they realized we're going to lose the stake, so they killed it. But this is really not a good thing for malicious validators. They don't care about the foundation. They have enough funds from just from the high rewards that they can do. Go to the next one. So the foundation is trying, but they didn't really do much. Jito themselves was doing quite a lot. First of all, they disabled mempool services. That was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. That was a major issue. That was really a service for searcher to sandwich. They stopped that. And lately, about 2 months ago, they came with a solution where they will not allow sandwiches within Jito if a transaction originated or have created a transaction specifying when they create a transaction something. So this basically killed attack number 1 and attack number 2, because now you cannot use Jito to sandwich the transaction. But you can still, if you are a malicious validator, you can still sandwich the transaction when it's your slot, when you are the leader. So bloXroute, I actually not going to talk too much about what we do, but I just want to mention that we are part of the trying to help fight the sandwiches. We are constantly monitoring the validator. Every slot in Solana we are analyzing, and every block immediately. And based on statistical number of attack within block, we identify malicious validator and mark them as malicious, and then we don't send order flow to that these leaders, and that's helped quite a lot. We usually identify about 3 or 4 malicious validator within a week. So the way they work is they run a validator, and if they see that they don't get order flow anymore, they withdraw the fund and they spin up a new validator. So we usually identify 3 or 4 validator within a week, and currently it's about 5% of the Solana validator that are malicious. This is a huge amount, 5%. So every 20 transactions that you are sending, you have a good chance to be attacked. Okay, but completely 3 different chain, and the reaction of the community and the foundation is completely different. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Ethereum. So I'm going to talk about timing game, and I'm going to talk about exclusive order flow. But the one thing I want you to remember throughout this part is that it's a zero-sum game, okay? So there is a pie, and we cannot make the pie bigger. If somebody is winning more, somebody is basically winning less. So in the last 6 months or a year, we've seen, do we have any validators here? Okay, and do we have any builders here? Good, so I can shit the validator, that's good. The builder, sorry. Cool, so in the last year, we've seen almost all the validators doing timing game. Timing game about a year and a half, 2 years ago was something bad on Ethereum. It was really considered evil, but now everyone are doing it. We are seeing validators that are going as high as 2.7, 2.8 seconds within a slot to get the header. And the concept is very similar. If they are waiting, they will get better blocks that are paying them more, okay? So this is, for example, the histogram of how much value you're going to get if you're going to wait 2 seconds within the block. This is based on the last 10,000 slot when we created it about a week ago. And you can clearly see there's don't ignore the 7.46%, but there's quite a high number of blocks that will give you 1, 2, 3% improvement, okay? But that's the number. You can get 1%, 2%, 3% improvement if you're gonna do timing game. So timing game is definitely working, but the extra reward is very small. And the problem that validators are seeing in the last year is that the APY is going down, okay? The APY is going down, and many validators believe that it's because there's not a lot of MEV on Ethereum, and this is not true. Okay, there's quite a lot of MEV on Ethereum. There's no excuse for the APY to go down. The reason why APY is going down, or the main reason, is because of what I call the exclusive order flow. So what's exclusive order flow? Exclusive order flow is if a transaction originator, whoever is creating a transaction, is sending transaction. Remember I told you that on Ethereum they are sending directly to the builder, not to get sandwiched. So they are sending directly, but instead of sending it to all the builder, they are sending it just to one builder. Okay? And if the transaction is paying a lot, has a lot of MEV in it, the builder can check what the other builder are bidding, and just making sure that it's going to win the slot and keep quite a lot of value for themselves. So let's look on one slot within the data sets that I analyzed. So you can see after 950 milliseconds, the block value was 16.5 ETH. So the validator that was winning is actually very happy. 16.5 ETH. That can increase the APY. If you wait for 2 seconds, it goes from 16.517 to 16.519. It's nothing, okay, compared to 16 ETH. Okay, go to the next, and let's actually look on that block. So that block, the value delivered to the validator, 16.34 ETH. The total value on the block is 33.78 ETH. So the builder was able to keep 52%. The validator got only 48%. And the builder in this case is Beaver Builder. Okay, so go to the next one. Okay, let's look on another block. Go to the next one. So this one, the validator received 0.6 ETH, but the total value was 5.7. So that's basically 10% of the block value that was sent to the validator. The builder in this case was BuilderNet. Okay. So in the data sets that I analyzed, it's about 1 month, a little bit more than 1 month of data. 44% of the blocks pay the validator less than 90%. Okay? So now the question is, what's a good percent that we expect validator to get? What's going to be fair? Okay? The builder obviously is doing some work. We're expecting the builder to make some money. But what's a good value? So my view, and I'm sharing my viewer because it's my presentation, completely different from anyone else. I have quite a lot of enemy now because I'm sharing my view. But remember why everyone knows what PBS is? Yeah, you are in ETC, you better know. So remember why we even came with PBS. We came with PBS because the concept right after the merge was, let's allow validator without a good hardware, solo validator, to run a validator because it's good for Ethereum, and let's outsource the block builder to a professional. Why? Because that's going to increase the rewards for the validator. We're going to do a block builder by companies that are specializing in block builder, and that will increase the rewards for the validator. That was the promise. And it worked very well in the beginning because back then there was no exclusive order flow. But now with the concept of exclusive order flow, where basically builder can take advantage of the fact that they have exclusive order flow and it's PBS, and offer validator very low percentage. So go to the next one, Justin. So bloXroute, we identified that about 2 years ago, and we came with a solution for validator. That's not a new solution. That's something we have for 2 years now. It allows a validator, when they register with our relay, to say, I want the relay to protect me from a builder sending me a block that is not paying me enough. Okay? But up till now, validator were not willing to participate. The change that I'm seeing right now is that we are actually being contacted by validator that requesting to test it. Okay? Because of what happened, that the reward is going down. And the way that it's working is if a block is paying 90% or above to the validator, that block is being sent to the validator without a problem. If a block is paying less than 90% to the validator, that block will be rejected by the relay unless the builder will pay extra fee, 1/3 of what the builder is making to the validator, and another 1/3 of what the builder is making to the relay. So by doing this, we are also hopefully managing to find some way for a relay to get paid for their service. Okay? Go to the next one. So the same data sets that I looked at, 279,000 blocks. We are talking here by average about 10% increase for each validator, okay? Or 10% increase, sorry, across all the blocks. I did it also per validator, and the number are 7, 8 to 11, 12. So it's basically, it's significant increase for the validator. A total of 13,213 ETH was paid to the proposer, and it's going to change to 14,500, assuming the builder will pay the minimum that they need and will maximize their profit with the new. So for this to work, there is right now some effort by a few validators to get some pub keys to do a pilot. Okay, I said that at least 10% or 15% of the stake is required. Otherwise, builder will not change their behavior. Because if 100 pub keys will participate in that block, the builder will say, probability that we will need to land exclusive order flow during this block is not high, so I'm not going to modify my behavior. But if it's 15% of the slots, it's something that the builder will not be willing to take a risk. Because remember one thing, if somebody, a user, is paying 10 ETH in a transaction, the only reason they do it is because they want to get in the next block. And if the builder have no chance, because the relay is going to reject the transaction, to be in the next block, the builder will need to change their behavior. Okay? So we are hoping that if we can do the pilot, other relay will support it, and if other relay support it, it's going to be easier to onboard more pub keys, and we're going to see either it's going to fail or maybe it's going to change Ethereum, and HCC 9, you'll come to my presentation and I'll show you the new stats. All right, so thank you for coming and enjoy.